This is Roseanne. Now, if you're unfamiliar, she had a TV show back in the 90s with John Goodman. It was self-titled, just Roseanne. She used to be progressive, apparently, but now she has taken a hard right turn into La La Land and has found herself sitting next to none other than our very own Alex Jones. You know your life took a wrong turn somewhere when you find yourself in that seat right there. So anyways, she's been going down this whole conspiracy rabbit hole over the past, couple of weeks, or few years, honestly. It's been a while. This is actually, part 4? If you haven't seen the others, don't sweat it. This stands independently of the rest. I'll provide context if it's missing. But I wanted to listen to more of this interview. When we left off, she was talking about Ukraine and how much she loves Putin. It was just absurd. It was absurd. And it's bound to get even more absurd in this next part. So let's give it a listen, see what she has to say. She's about to open up into a new subject, so you didn't have to see the other part to understand what happens here. Oh, yeah, and while we listen to Roseanne just eat herself alive with conspiracy theories, we are going to play some Breath of the Wild. If you've never seen this game played, don't sweat it. It'll just be in the background. Shouldn't bother you too much.
I want you to elaborate on that. I'm not trying to get you in trouble again, but you went on Joe Rogan 4 years ago when you got deplatformed along with me, and I have the 60 Minutes clip. Guys.
Right, so if you're unfamiliar with why Roseanne got quote-unquote deplatformed back in the day, the reason is because she called one of Obama's staff members an ape. A black staff member. She called her an ape. And then she blamed it on Ambien. And the company Ambien came out and said, there are no side effects to this that include racism or something like that. It's pretty funny. So anyway, yeah. She was just straight up racist to somebody for absolutely no reason and then blamed everyone around her. So
cue it up. If she doesn't say it, it's fine. Because taking on Soros is a big deal, but she has a lot of courage. Soros went on 60 Minutes. He went on NPR, and he said, best part of my life was working for Hitler, and I don't have any guilt for myself because I was just filling a slot. Well,
oh, my God. Okay. So George Soros, you probably heard of him as one of their boogeymen, right? One of the right's, big evil bad guys that ruins people's lives and blah, blah, blah. Let me explain this to you real quick. So George Soros got rich by doing something called shorting stocks, right? The stock market in itself is kind of immoral in the way that some of it operates. You're basically, when you short a stock, you're betting on that stock to fail, right? So GameStop, a brick and mortar game company, is almost certainly going to fail in the next 15 years, right? Their stock will be lower next year than it is right now, almost certainly, right? Because everything's moving digital. There's no need for a brick and mortar GameStop anymore. So there are these betting markets with the stock market where you can borrow a stock, a single share of a stock, say GameStop, for example, for 1 year. Right, so you borrow one of those shares for 1 year. Say the share is worth $60 or something, and you immediately turn around and sell that share as soon as you borrow it. And in a year, you have to pay the person back that you borrowed it from. Now, if the share is worth less in a year than it was when you first borrowed it, then you've made money. That's called shorting a stock. And it's generally viewed as destructive to the system because people are losing money that don't, it's not really viewed as fair. Exactly. So anyways, George Soros got famous for shorting stocks. He got rich actually by shorting currencies. He bet against, say, the British pound. He bet that the British pound would fail. He bet that, the US dollar or whatever other thing would fail. And he was right. They failed. And he made billions and billions of dollars this way, right? Well, he's also a political activist, as it turns out. So he would donate millions of dollars to various different Democratic candidates' funds. And for that reason, he's kind of viewed as the left-wing version of the Koch brothers, when he's really not. The Koch brothers are, with absolutely no morals in their head, trying to destroy the planet by making oil a lot more common, and fucking workers out of every penny that they have and stuff like that. I mean, George Soros being a billionaire, I don't think the dude really cares about workers or whatever. But, you know, he's funding Democratic platforms, so I can't complain too much. Well, here's where it gets interesting. If you notice, Alex Jones mentioned, he said he liked working for Hitler and so he never worked for Hitler, okay? He is Jewish and he's a Holocaust survivor. During the Holocaust, he was like 14 years old or something, and he was taken in by a family and protected. And that family the guy was high up in the Nazi party, but he didn't agree with the ideals of the party. He was protecting people, obviously. He protected George Soros. He lied about it and pretended that Soros was, a fellow German or whatever. He was Hungarian, I believe. So Soros went with him while he did Nazi business, but Soros himself was completely exonerated from any wrongdoing. And the guy was also exonerated from wrongdoing, from my understanding. Like, the guy he was lying the entire time and doing only exactly what he needed to convince the party that he believed in what he was doing or whatever. And all the while saving people's lives, So anyways, that's why they make these claims about Soros. Soros was in the Holocaust, a Holocaust survivor, and to some low degree, I guess, kind of participated in the Holocaust as a young teenager because that's how he needed to survive. But he was like being protected by others and all this other stuff. So anyway, they're just lying about Soros, trying to twist it around and make him out to be like this big evil genius. It's just completely made up. Wow, I almost jumped off the side there on Breath of the Wild. So yeah, keep listening here. I just wanted to clear that up because that's complete bullshit.
It's a big deal, but she has a lot of courage. Soros went on 60 Minutes. He went on NPR, and he said, best part of my life was working for Hitler.
No, he said he didn't say that. That's completely made up. I don't feel like getting into that whole thing right now, but obviously Alex Jones is twisting this around, making it seem like something that it's not. I mean, I don't even feel like I need to point that out.
and I don't have any guilt for myself because I was just filling a slot. Well,
right, exactly. He felt no guilt about following this guy around and while he did his Nazi party runs, because there's nothing he could have done. If he came out and said, I'm Jewish, and blew the lid off of it, he would be murdered. Seriously, this is the most clear-cut example of morality through intent that I have ever seen. But Alex Jones doesn't want you to see it that way. He wants you to see him as an evil monster when he simply is not.
That's like saying, if you put a gun to my head and say, go kill people or I'm going to kill you, I'm going to say, pull the freaking trigger, dude. But
George Soros never killed anybody is the thing. He never killed anybody.
The point is that
from my understanding, the worst that they did was go through a bunch of stuff that had been taken from Jews and sort through it or something like that, like a bunch of possessions that had been taken, like wedding rings and various different gold and stuff like that. So they were doing tasks for the Nazi party. That's absolutely true. But Soros never killed anybody. And his participation in it was exonerated.
Yeah, I give up responsibility because somebody else told me to do it. Well, that's like the Nazis following orders.
That's not what happened.
Because Hitler told him to. That doesn't float the boat at Nuremberg. Their asses got hung. And right.
Then why didn't Soros get in trouble? He was exonerated. Okay, they took Nazi war crimes very seriously in Nuremberg. Why did Soros get out of it? Because he was innocent.
So. And so I have this weird paradox where I don't live off them, but I have pride over it. Both my grandfathers were in the Army Air Corps. One was a hero, ran a bunch of missions. One only did a few. His plane got damaged, crash landed, broke a bunch of bones, and barely lived. But one of them they were both great guys, but one of them was a real war hero. North Africa, Italy, Germany, volunteered mission after mission, all of it. And it didn't have the media call me a Nazi when I almost don't exist because both my grandfathers almost died
Okay, what your grandfathers did is completely irrelevant to what you did, Alex. You know, Alex Jones is a Nazi, as far as I'm concerned. He's done some really horrific, messed up stuff. Borderline Nazi. At the very least, he's white supremacist. I'll put it that way. Maybe calling him a full-blown Nazi isn't fair. I mean, I've seen him sit down and interview Nazis, but he's a Nazi sympathizer, at least.
World War II, and then to see him saying it was happy making time, it was the best time of my life. I have no guilt though, because I was just filling a slot, kind of like the market, and like you're a robot. Like,
well, that's probably how he dealt with the fact that he was going around working for these horrific fucking people that did this terrible shit. So yeah, that would make sense. He's talking about I think a 1999 interview he did. I actually watched that whole interview, and that's where he came out as an atheist. He said, I'm of Jewish descent, but I don't believe in any of this stuff, you know. And naturally, coming out as an atheist means that people are going to, like, destroy your reputation. That's how it works. That's also around the time that Soros started funding Democratic political campaigns. I get so tired of how ready they are to take credit for their ancestors' accomplishments and yell, but we never owned slaves when held to account. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's a really good point. There's no consistency, no moral consistency. My grandfathers did this, my grandfathers did that, but I'm not to blame for anything that happened back then. In all seriousness, they're not to blame for the ownership of slaves, and they also don't deserve credit for what their grandparents did in World War II. You are your own man. You are an individual that stands independent of everybody else. This is something that they scream about all the time, but they don't seem to really get, honestly.
Hitler was in charge, so I did what he said. And then literally, I get to be called a Nazi by the ADL when I have nothing to do with this?
Oh, God, I thought the ADL called him a Nazi. I don't know if you guys are aware of the ADL, but it's the Anti-Defamation League. So they're pretty good. They've been lambasted as being political because they've come out against right-wing figures naturally, because the right is who seems to be cozying up with Hitler the most. I don't feel that they are political. Not really. Alex Jones is a right-wing American radio host and prolific anti-government conspiracy theorist. I was hoping to find, did they even call him a Nazi? Here you go, right here. Jones hosted Richard Spencer. Yeah, that's true. Richard Spencer is a Nazi, a self-avowed known Nazi. White supremacist, anti-Semitic alt-right figure, giving him a platform to express his white nationalist beliefs. That's not even the worst of it, dude. Alex Jones had Kanye West and Nick Fuentes on, who literally said that they love Hitler. Dude, I love Alex Jones's backgrounds. I'm not a fan of this one with Kanye, but the green, I love that shit, dude. That's really nice. Anyway, listen to this. This is from, I think, December 1st, 2022.
Seriously, I've really studied a lot of history, plus I had family that was there. And so, I mean, I don't think Hitler was a good guy. I get the Hugo Boss uniforms, amazing. But I mean, just because you're in love with the design, you're a designer. Can we just kind of say, like, you like the uniforms, but that's about it?
No. There's a lot of things that I love about Hitler.
He's doing his. Look at Alex Jones's face, dude.
A lot of things.
I love it, man. That's so funny. Oh, God. That's Kanye West saying he loves Hitler. Okay. So anyway, Richard Spencer's appearance on Alex Jones, bottom of the barrel, dude. I don't even care. I care about that. That's fucking psychotic. So he's had, like, Nazis on his show. It's the bottom line here. And now, they didn't call Alex Jones a Nazi. They said he has, given the Nazi movement air by inviting them on his show. That's fair. I mean, this is the ADL's article on him. I don't know, where else would I look for them to call him a Nazi? They didn't call him a Nazi as far as I can tell, did they? Maybe I missed it. I don't know. Also, this is a propagandistic image of Alex Jones. They should have used a normal image of him, in my opinion. People use terrible images like this for thumbnails and screenshots and stuff. I don't do this shit. You may find a thumbnail of mine where somebody has a hilarious face, but I will never get a screen cap of them looking evil or angry or whatever like that. You'll never find it. I feel like it's immoral. I feel like it's wrong. There's one example I saw recently. Look, this is one that I'm talking about right here. This one is pretty bad, this thumbnail. This is her looking like she's crazy. I don't do that anymore. Also, I don't insult people anymore. Activist mommy, more stupid than we thought. I don't do that anymore. That's not great. But, you know, it's in my history, so I'm going to leave it there. But I feel like the ADL should have picked a different picture to represent Jones than this. This is bad. Anyway, yeah, the ADL is a fine organization. I don't even know what he's talking about. He's just upset that, you know, people called him out for hosting full-blown actual real Nazis that said that they love Hitler on his program.
Nazi by the ADL when I have nothing to do with this? It makes me angry that this is going on, and it disgusts me. And then you got deplatformed for daring to say George Soros said he worked for Hitler. George Soros said that on 60 Minutes. So I guess the bigger question is, why did he say it? And then why aren't you allowed to say he said it?
Okay, this is completely BS. Like, this didn't happen. This is a misrepresentation of the entire situation, obviously. I don't feel like going through and watching, like, the whole interview with Soros, but, yeah, it's made up.
Well, he said that he was 14 years old. So what I said was, well, you know, you can't hold a 14-year-old slave responsible for what the slave meant.
There you go. Wow, Roseanne is actually taking the correct position on this. But, again, Soros didn't do anything bad, to my knowledge. You cannot hold a 14-year-old slave responsible for what they did. But, to my knowledge, he didn't do anything bad anyway.
Does, but I said, okay, so we won't talk about that, but we will talk about everything you did as an adult, which was just as bad, if not worse.
No. Everything that he's done as an adult is fund Democratic campaigns. That's what they're angry about. In their defense, like I said, he has shorted stocks and shorted currencies, and that's not fantastic. He got his money in an unethical way. I'm really not a fan of that one. But, you know, at least he's working for the right causes, and at least his method of earning money was not, like, destructive to the environment, like the Koch brothers. It's got to be tough to get a screen cap of Alex Jones not looking angry. That's an interesting point. I've never really had a problem finding a screen cap of people like not looking angry or not looking whatever. Like, it's not too bad, but here's the thing with with video, usually with video and TVs and whatever else, there are buffer frames in between like the regular frames. Like, a video is just a compilation of like 30 different images per second, right? So there's usually a buffer frame that's drawn by the render when the video was created that's kind of like a fade between the two original frames, and it makes the video look smoother. So something I've noticed is it's really hard to get a good screenshot of somebody if you're going through a video where they don't look ridiculous. It to some degree, right? Like look right here. Look at Roseanne. You know, I just stopped in one spot and she's like pursing her lips and her eyes are closed. It's just a weird scene, right? Like, literally anywhere that I stop, it looks weird. It's hard to find a good spot that doesn't look weird. But it's possible, right? Like, this one looks okay. But I'll tell you, somebody that I simply cannot find a good shot of. Someone I simply can't find a good shot of in video form is Kenneth Copeland. The dude looks ridiculous no matter where I stop. So I don't even try with that dude anymore. Anyway, let's keep listening here.
You collapsed whole societies, which led to, you know,
let me step back a little bit.
That, but we will talk about everything you did as an adult, which was just as bad, if not worse. You collapsed whole societies, which led to, you know, death of people all over the planet. Well,
I don't know that he collapsed whole societies. What's she talking about? He bet against the dollar Or no, I'm sorry, bet against the British pound, I think, famously, which made him like a ton of money. And that was immoral. That caused a lot of problems for a lot of people. But he didn't collapse whole societies. What? What's she talking about?
You financially collapse an entire nation, that leads to a lot of death.
He didn't do that.
And you do it to make money. That's, you did that as an adult and not as a Nazi slave. So
I think he shorted the Indian currency also, if I remember correctly.
Let's just talk about what you did after. Because what he did after, he didn't have, well, he still has puppet masters. He's just a face in the window.
Well, that's interesting because usually they don't view him, they as in like the right, Alex Jones and others. Usually the right doesn't view him as one of the puppets. They view him as the puppet master, typically. I'm kind of surprised that they're saying that he's just the face in the window. Okay.
Let's just really talk real. He's just the face they put in the window. Like all the rest.
That's from that old interview in 1999, I think.
Everybody we see, they're just the faces in the window that.
He's just a compliant servant of the devil. By the way, the crew probably can't find it.
Alex, we don't know their names and we never see their faces. They hide in Switzerland.
They do.
Okay, now they're talking about the World Economic Forum, I believe, the WEF. That would be like Klaus Schwab and others. It's this whole conspiracy theory called the Great Reset. It's all just nonsense. They're just going in circles, like conspiracy circles 24/7. Absolutely nuts.
Can you queue up? You probably can't find it, but 2 weeks ago I played Soros. He had an announcement in Germany. It's like an hour long, but he literally can't even talk now, but he doesn't know when to give up. He's just up there like bumbling around.
Well, he doesn't.
Well, he's like 107 years old or some shit, right? So, of course, he's on the older side. They always notice when older people have trouble talking when it's somebody to the left of hunting the homeless for sport, but they completely ignore it, pretend it's not happening when it's Donald Trump that can't speak correctly.
Have a soul, you can tell that.
Soros doesn't have a soul, okay.
Can't you?
Yeah. Exactly. So I want to say this. I don't hate George Soros. He's gone.
Oh, he hates George Soros.
Whatever happened, maybe he was a human at some point. I forgive him, not because I'm even supporting what he did. I'm against what he did, but I think God does want us to just realize he's a fallen human that we couldn't save, and he's a loss.
Here's what I say to him, and I say it to all the billionaires there, because, you can't be a billionaire without hurting a lot of people. There's no way.
That's an interesting take. I disagree. I think I disagree. Now, there shouldn't be billionaires, period. They should not. You should lose everything past $1 billion. You make anything more than $1 billion, it goes straight into the government, who then redistributes it to the poor, like Robin Hood style. In my opinion, that's what should happen. But I can think of some ethical ways that somebody could make $1 billion. It doesn't have to be built on exploitation. It could be built off of any number of other potential things. Like, you build a product that a lot of people like, and you pay your employees really well. I'm not seeing anything inherently wrong with that, but okay. I mean, that's an interesting take from somebody that's on the right, like Roseanne.
But to all the billionaires out there, you could, with your money, you could save every kid on this planet and help us turn it into heaven. You don't need all that money.
Agreed. And there are actually billionaires out there who are no longer billionaires because they gave up all of their money like that to various different causes, the poor and stuff. Seriously, there are actually some good ones out there.
And if you would do that and help people instead of hurt them, we would gladly welcome you back into the fold of human beings, and you would be a hero too. And
George Soros actually gives a lot of his money away. In fact, Soros gave out like all of the money that he made from 1970 something to like all the way to like 2003. The new amount of money that he has now, like the billions that he has at this moment, are from a new hedge fund that he started in, I think, 2003 or something. So yeah, I mean, the dude has given away a lot of his money. You just don't like the causes he's given it to, which is to say, Democratic candidates.
Get so much love and acceptance, and people would just marvel at you. And
Exactly. We're trying to give them amnesty.
that's what you want. And so, do the right thing and ask God to forgive you. And after that happens, you will make amends to the human beings you've harmed, and you can come back with us, and we'll have a lot of fun.
You think that anybody that you have demonized to this degree is going to donate to anything connected to you? That's absolutely absurd.
No, I agree. I'm ready. And I'm not on some high horse. I've been when I've been wrong. It wasn't on purpose. We would love to see them. Well, where is our Saul of Tarsus, becoming Paul? Where are those defectors to our side? I mean, I'm starting to see some of it, but
Well, you saw Elon Musk. I think he's one of them.
Yeah, Elon Musk used to have a really good reputation among everybody. Just a really smart guy who knew what he was doing and wanted to make the world better. And then the facade fell when he opened his big fucking mouth. When he started talking, everyone realized, wow, this guy is actually really stupid. And he's like, he doesn't know anything, doesn't seem to know a single thing about anything at all. Like, what the hell? Especially, like, he claims to have coded PayPal, like written the code for it. Now, that's not true at all. That is not how it happened in any way. Now, he may not claim that, but that's the belief anyways. He was simply a venture capitalist. And when people started asking him questions about Twitter and what was wrong with it from a technical perspective and why he thought that the whole thing should be rebuilt, they realized how little he knows about programming. He knows almost nothing. He knows just enough to use buzzwords, and that's about it.
let's go
So
to break.
far.
Let's go to break because you may not need a break, but I got to go pee-pee.
Go for it.
We're going to go to break for a couple.
This guy is so fucking weird, dude. What a weird thing to say to somebody. And just why? Just why?
Minutes. You guys here, whatever you want. We got a lot of great stuff. Roseanne Barr is on. I mean, I've seen a lot of your interviews, watched a lot of your podcasts when you were doing it. It was all very informative, but I think this is a very special interview.
I'm showing myself who I really am because I feel safe with you, Alex, and thank you for that opportunity. And
Well,
Okay.
I want to say
Support.
I've always liked you, but in person, you are way more. You're impressive very impressive in person. I can feel your aura.
and so are you, Alex. Thank you.
I can feel your aura. Okay, are they done stroking each other off or what?
Appreciate you. All right, we'll go to tape here for a couple minutes, and we're going to come back and just really go over this with Roseanne Barr. It's an amazing interview. Stay with us.
Hello, Americans. I'm Paul Harvey. If I were the devil.
Okay, that's weird. I don't know what this is or oh my god, this is just bizarre, dude. All right, let's skip forward and see if we can. Just a big ass commercial, apparently. Okay, here we go. We're back. Hey, beautiful shot of the Statue of Liberty. I love it. That's Manhattan over there. Check it out. That's where I live. Right there. No, this is not actually. I think this may be Staten Island, not Manhattan. Manhattan. This shot is being taken from Manhattan, looks like. Or near, from Manhattan's on the other side. That's a beautiful shot, though. I love it. New York City is just one of a kind place. You never see anything like it. All right, let's keep listening here.
They're going to drop all them.
Roseanne, you're here. I've tried to get here for years. We're live right now.
Dude, well, I don't know what's happening. Let's just jump forward here.
The average person saying, what do we do then? What's going to come next? I think what you said, jack into the Holy Spirit, jack into God, and ask God what they should do.
Okay, here's what you do. Everybody's looking for change from the top down, looking to our so-called leaders who are all just paid prostitutes of cartels.
Our leaders are paid prostitutes of cartels. Wow, that's... All right. I see she's taking off the hat, too. Is this like taking off the gloves? She's about to get real?
We're going to make the change happen from the bottom up. We have to make it happen at the grassroots. That means
That's the only way change can happen, honestly. Well, I mean, billionaires are at the very top, and they can make change happen from the top down, but it's very expensive and difficult and doesn't always end well. Grassroots is the only way that we have to make things happen. So, yeah.
You got to run.
Top down is called AstroTurf. Bottom up is called grassroots. AstroTurf is where billionaires try to change the culture by hiring actors to go to board meetings and protest or whatever other thing. And both sides accuse each other of AstroTurfing, which I'm sure to some degree both sides probably do, but this is really a billionaire thing that happens. And many of the billionaires are on the right. Not all. Like, Soros is on the left, but he's just about the only left-wing billionaire. And he's not even in the left. He's kind of, more in the center left than anything. There are no billionaires that are good, honestly.
For office, you got to go in there to the school boards and sit. Like, people are actually doing it, too. People are taking this government into their own hands and realizing it is a government of by and for the people.
And that scared the system 2 years ago when they sent the FBI to harass people that were protesting school boards peacefully.
That did not happen. He's completely misinterpreting the situation. What actually happened was there was an AstroTurf effort. Billionaires were funding an effort to get people to threaten teachers, threaten board members, follow them to their cars in the middle of the night, drive by their houses, take pictures through their windows, throw rocks at their windows, that type of thing. I'm dead serious. Billionaires were paying people to do this stuff, to harass board members and scare the shit out of them, which is causing them to quit. The school board members were quitting, and they were being filled in with billionaire chosen people, or they were holding new elections, which gave billionaires a chance to step in. And so this is like a terrorist action. This is a terrorist event, a domestic terrorist attempt to stop people from, to replace school board members. And the Department of Justice released a memo that said, if this stuff doesn't stop, we're going to start arresting people. And overnight, it stopped immediately. This is not, parents coming and protesting at school boards. That wasn't the problem at any point. That's not what the Department of Justice is complaining about. This was domestic terrorist attacks funded by billionaires that stopped immediately when the Department of Justice memo came out. So, anyways, yeah, just completely made up. He has no idea what he's talking about. Or maybe he does, and he just wants to set out to mix the issue up and confuse it. That could be too.
Yeah, the moms and dads.
Calling them terrorists because they're scared of that.
Yeah.
That's your community. You run that. That's your family. You pay those taxes, not some, IMF World Bank thing.
That's right. And those taxes, everybody, and they've also, well, I won't go into that, but
no, please go into that. I'm interested.
It's we pay taxes to get something back, like roads, schools, hospitals.
Okay, that's an aspect of it. You don't pay taxes to get something back. You must misunderstand. You pay taxes because you got something from this government, because you live here, because your kids went to public school here, because you have benefited so immensely from the society that you live in. You have no idea. I'm talking to Roseanne right now. Roseanne has no idea how she has benefited from this society. If she had it all yanked out from under her, she would certainly understand. But yeah, you should get something out of taxes, roads, bridges, public schools, all kinds of different things. Those aren't the only things by any stretch of the imagination. And we do and we do get those things.
And such. Instead, they're taking our taxes and going out and giving it to, they're putting public money into private pockets is what.
Okay, that's literally all that taxes do. Put public money into private pockets. Yes, that's how money works. It's called velocity.
They're doing. And then they go and sell weapons to both sides of every skirmish across the seas, and they're all
That's not true. That's happened historically. That's fair enough. But that's not happening now.
making money on all of it. You know, I won't even go into that, how, you know, they start wars and arm both sides, and pretty soon everything has a KFC and a Banana Republic. I mean, come on. It's just really sickening to me. That's our tax money, and that means it belongs in our communities that pay those taxes.
Okay, this is Russian propaganda that she's repeating right now. She's trying to. I'm assuming that this came out of the QAnon movement that she follows. She's trying to make people think that assisting in wars is a bad thing. The Ukraine war couldn't possibly be a better use of our money. Really. It is. You trying to tell me that that the United States' primary adversary over the past 100 years is getting destroyed and exposed, and not one American life has to be lost to expose it, and you want to stop? Who else could have come up with this but Russia? This is the clearest cut example of Russian propaganda I think I've ever seen.
It belongs for roads, for police, for the people who pay those taxes.
And notice that's the things they're all defunding.
And so what she's talking about here are local issues. Yes, there are local things that money should be used for, absolutely. There are also federal things that money should be used for. It's not just police. We need a federal government.
Infrastructure, the police, not the police are perfect, but they're defunding it to cause chaos.
No one is defunding anything. This is completely made up.
But they thought they would cause chaos and then blame America.
Who is they?
The average American gets it's an outside force doing this. The globalists aren't very happy right now because they're getting the blame.
Well, it's their fault. Like it's the billionaires' fault that, you know, you don't get $1 billion without screwing over innumerable amounts of people.
I disagree. I think it's possible to do. Now, every billionaire out there right now, I think, has screwed over an innumerable amount of people. So that's fair enough, I suppose. But I think it's possible, right? Is it possible at least?
You just don't. You know, that's why one thing that bugs me about Kanye, or Ye, whatever.
Oh, boy. Oh, so Alex Jones had Kanye on not too long ago to talk about how much he loves Hitler. Kanye was a billionaire until he said he loved Hitler, and then Adidas yanked their deal with him and fucking ruined him financially. Love it. He deserved that 100%. You know, Nazis deserve to be destitute, in my opinion. That's just me.
Hey, talk about being a billionaire, Kanye. Where are their children sewing them clothes? Come on, man. You've got $1 billion, or had. It isn't moral to have $1 billion.
Dude, I love it, dude. Oh my God, I'm such a fan of what she's saying right now. This is fantastic. Also, Alex Jones cannot be having a good time right now, right? I would bet anything that he's like hoping that Kanye is not listening to this right now, because he knows Kanye watches Alex Jones.
I'm not even attacking Ye over having money, but my issue was,
oh shit,
I talked to him and I said, I want to come on and talk about love. He goes, yeah, I want to talk about love. And he got here in a mask and did this whole Hitler thing. And I went, hey, Hitler blew up Poland that did nothing. Like, let's just believe your postulation that Jews are evil and deserve to be killed. I don't agree with that. It's wrong. But what about Poland? Didn't have an answer. I said, what about my grandfathers? My dad's dad was in the Army Air Corps, flew a bunch of missions, volunteered for more, and then he was an officer in the invasion of Germany, and he saw the death camps. He would hardly talk about it, and he saw piles of dead bodies everywhere, black birds eating all these dead people, literally bulldozers, piles of dead bodies. Worse.
Yeah, I don't think Kanye has any real concept of what actually happened in the war and what Hitler did. I think he has like some idea of what happened, but I don't think he fully gets it. And I think he has a minimal education on it and just fucking hates Jews and will find any reason to spread that hate and latch onto any movement that also hated them. Does Kanye even comprehend how Hitler viewed black/African people. I doubt it. I doubt it. I doubt he has any clue, which is embarrassing and sad. It just goes to show you he knows nothing about the movement that he supports, you know? Did you know you can't name but one famous scientist that believed in atheism? Believed in atheism, huh? Okay, interesting. I appreciate the input. Okay. Wow, I just don't even know what to say to that. Atheism is not a belief. Atheism is a lack of belief. There are plenty of scientists who did not believe in God, and that makes them atheists. That's what atheism is, not believing in God. That was really a weird thing to say. Thank you so much, My Balls Are Smalls, though. I appreciate the input. All right, let's keep listening to Alex Jones here.
Same thing you saw on TV. He told me that when I was a little kid. He told my dad that. And Ye said, yeah, like, you know, it's just your grandfather. And to me, it's like, I don't need to watch PBS and know him.
Okay, he didn't say that's just your grandfather. Like, Kanye didn't have any substantive input on any of this stuff. He just said, I don't care. I still hate Jews. And then anytime, you know, Alex Jones said, well, I disagree with you. I think Hitler was bad. He said, look, we're going to stop dissing the Nazis all the time. That's what he said, really. I'm not joking. I watched the entire interview, not on here with you guys, but on my own time. I watched the entire fucking thing, and it was just something else, dude. Let me just pull up a couple of relevant clips here so that you guys know what I'm talking about. I took notes on the entire thing, too. Those notes are available on my Dropbox. You can reach it by going to my website, owenmorgan.com, just clicking in the top right corner, YouTube clips. It'll take you to my Dropbox with all the clips. All of the, it has the clips, it has the notes, it has the everything on there. Images and whatever, screenshots, anything I've ever covered on my channels before, any of them, it's on there. Up to 2021, I think.
You're not Hitler. You're not a Nazi. You don't deserve to be called that and demonized.
Well,
okay, that is him saying, well, actually, you know, I kind of am a little bit.
I see good things about Hitler also. I love everyone, and Jewish people are not going to tell me you.
Yeah, at this point, they played something from American History X, I think it's called.
Can love, you know, us, and you can love what we're doing to you with the contracts, and you can love what we're pushing with the pornography. But this guy that invented highways, invented the very microphone that I use as a musician.
That's nonsense. Hitler did not invent highways or the microphone. It's completely made up.
You can't say out loud that this person ever did anything good, and I'm done with that.
No, you can. You can talk about the things that Hitler did that were good for Germany or whatever. When it all boils down to it, though, Hitler wasn't trying to do anything good for anybody but himself, really. And for some of the German people or for the Aryan race. Everything that he did good was everything good that he did hurt somebody else. That's nationalism, by the way. That's a difference between nationalism and patriotism. Patriotism is trying to help your country, and nationalism is helping your country by hurting somebody else. So anyways, that's why nationalism is a bad thing. But that's neither here nor there.
I'm done with the classifications. Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table.
Okay, sure. I can get on board with that. Some people were also horrifically evil, in addition to some of the good things that they brought. And Hitler was one of those people. The good does not outweigh the bad with Hitler. I'm sorry. That's just what it is, man.
Especially Hitler.
Especially Hitler. Not also Hitler, but him particularly.
Every human being has something of value that they brought to the table. Especially Hitler.
So anyway, that was his interview with Alex Jones. It was bad.
Hitler was bad, killed a bunch of people. My grandfather saw it. And the thing to just disregard that as, you know, and I'm not even, and I don't agree with his censorship either. I think things like that need to be heard.
Well, it really pissed me off when he was talking, him and Dave Chappelle saying, the Jews, the Jews. That really pissed me off. Because, I mean, that was classic.
Well, it's like the left saying, the white people. Like, what is it my fault if some Jeffrey Dahmer eats people because he's white? Like, I didn't do that. Or like, oh, a black guy killed a white person. That's not a black people's fault.
That's what I was going to say. That'd be like me coming on here and saying, the blacks. I mean, come on. There's millions of kinds of Jewish people. That's what I was here to prove. There are lots of different...
Yeah, she claims to be Jewish. I don't even know if this is true. In fact, I suspect it's not. I suspect she kind of believes herself to be like one of God's chosen people, and that's kind of the basis for her belief that she is Jewish, because this is a Sabbath that she's, like, on this interview doing this right now. This is a Sabbath. It's a Saturday. And she's out here drinking scotch, it seemed like. I don't even know what it was she's drinking exactly. And swearing, saying God damn, talking about Satan having a plan for people and hell and all this other stuff. So I don't know. It's so hard to know for sure. I guess it's still possible she is Jewish legitimately, but just the way that she talks, the things that she said, it didn't really seem to me like she's actually Jewish. Let me know what you think about it in the comments.